hall for people to see, right? I mean, you would.
Maybe not. I mean,
State of Indiana, for goodness sakes, you know,
when
that,
I go on hurricane deployments in the south with areas totally destructed, there's a lot of time my FEMA team cannot go to public or to those facilities because the National Guard has mustered there for their people.
could be. But I'm,
Stayed in gyms.
but we don't know for sure, and I respect that point. You just don't know, and then all of a sudden, that worst case scenario is happening. Right, there's fire there, and now we've got a life safety problem. I mean, it's just, you know, it's that one time.
We can make the condition that the facility won't have any overnight sleep. If that's a concern.
But it sounds like that's already in place,
Right.
unless it would be an emergency.
Emergency, yeah.
And that would be understandable.
Yeah.
That situation would be no different than what we allow in churches right now.
Yeah.
In an emergency situation.
But the only requirement there is we do have the smoke detection and everything required in the churches to allow that.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
That's kind of what we're missing here.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't know how you feel about that, John, but if they had a full smoke detection fire alarm system, monitored system, you know, I mean,
I could understand
you're
that.
not adding on to the A3 at all, you're just adding on to the B. There is some separation with the barrier, not full separation, but you got three barriers.
Like I said, this is a huge building. It's gonna be 26,000 square feet. That's a lot, quite a bit in there. Huh? You can put a lot of tanks in there.
Not. Tanks are big.
A lot of space. That will break a new opening in the wall.
My door might accommodate.
I'm not sure what the access to this building is, but I know that other facilities, they have been used for storage of different items in the drill floor.
Generally do not park our vehicles on the drill floors.
Don't park your vehicles because then you would be required to put a sprinkler system inside. So, because like, no,
But it could be temporary overnight parking, which the code allows you to do.
Yeah.
It's not parking at
night,
night.
correct?
I'm not sure.
Did we find out? Do we have any alarm system at all?
Be more support. If it doesn't have.
Yes. Yes, correct.
That's, so we can, if we don't get an answer, we can write it up. If it doesn't have a smoke detection fire alarm system, we will install.
So
Monitor.
NFPA 72 compliant fire alarm system. That's not good.
And we keep saying fire alarm system. Do you want a smoke detection system?
Smoke and pools.
Smoke and books.
It'll be the lowest bids, right?
Maybe.
Just, yeah, so. Excuse me, smart, but smoke pools, monitored system. So. UL certified fire panel, not a security panel. That's.
Monitored by an outside source.
David, are you good with that? You make it?
I'm good with it. Just
I would say. And then up being $70.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought we were going to do.
Simple. Yeah.
Try to add additional things onto it, so I didn't know.
Well, I just want to make sure it's monitored. Well, state says monitored. We have some people sign us and they, oh, well, it's not monitored. Or they stick a security panel in it. It's like, oh, no, you can't have a security panel.
There's 72.
So you're supposed to say, correct.
Need 72. Correct. Okay. So you're saying that for there.
Yes.
So if this passes,
Yes.
They should.
that's gonna set, that's what you know you have to do to the other ones. If you renovate in the very near future.
And as long as they're not adding on to the A3 area, they add on to the A3 area, that's different. I mean, for your other buildings, he's talking about your other buildings. I think if you add it on,
If I separate my new addition.
separated it, yeah. Yeah. But
Yeah,
fine, it'd be okay, but you want to make a,
Like I said, I can come up with 100 solutions, no matter whether it works or not. Get it to work, no matter whether the client likes it or not.
PA 72.
Yes.
2010 edition.
Motion approved.
So has there been a first and second? Sorry, have we did a first and second yet?
I think you're making the motion.
I'm making a
Make it a
motion. And it's approved per NFPA
The
72.
addition of an NFP 72 2010 edition alarm system. I'll second the motion.
I think everybody did.
You got that, Dennis?
NFPA 72 2010 edition alarm system.
Yes.
Okay, so vote to approve by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, I believe we have 240634 A and B Covenant Christian School, Bloomington.
This variance has two parts to it. The first one is dealing with, chapter 34. They are requesting an additional 9.2 points for, and the second variance deals with not wanting to provide a sprinkler system. And the area exceeds 12,000 square feet.
Melissa Tupper, RTM Consultants. So the project involves the conversion of an existing church into a Christian school. We are using Chapter 34 to do that conversion, but based upon the size of the building, we can't pass even if we provide fire alarm and detection and our exiting complies, rated corridors, everything else. The building is just too big to pass, and you get hit the hardest for not having sprinklers in a school. You get a -12. I could have a bar and I get a -4, but a school you get hit with a -12. A residential unit, I can have an apartment building not sprinklered and I get hit with -6. But for schools, it's a -12. So there's no way to overcome that score. So that is what this first variance is addressing. The second variance, there is an existing upper level balcony area that served the church that they want to expand to add more classroom area to accommodate the needs of the school, because the majority of the square footage of the school is the existing sanctuary open space that they're using as their multi-purpose cafeteria and gym. So that leaves them with limited area for actual classroom space. It is a non-combustible construction. It's within allowable area, and there is a fire department just 3.2 miles away. But with both variances, it would take sprinklers to address them. And this is in a rural area. The water lines in the area are only 2 to 3 inches, so that's not capable of supporting a sprinkler system. To do the fire pump and tank or well, it's going to be in excess of $400,000. And right now they're looking at 1.5 to in construction costs to modify and do the existing building.
But this is a school. This is not a bar. It's other people's children. That's how I'm looking at it. I
And
mean,
unlike the normal discussion from Bloomington, these are actually children.
young adults, young children. Not.
I was just comparing the fact that
The point system.
I understand.
Said in Noblesville, we built a new church and they had to put a tank system. And it's cost of construction.
Input Wilmington Fire Department. This is not my jurisdiction, but I was asked by Bobby LaRue, who couldn't make it today, to basically state that he's also opposed to this. And this is Monroe County Fire District's area, Steve Coover, and he's also opposed to it. I just wanted to relay those messages. I'm just a messenger on this one.
We move to the second variance, 12,000 square feet is the threshold where the sprinklers require. Look at a 24,524 square foot building, so we're double. This isn't 13,000 square feet, we're talking about 1,000 square feet, which, would be a different discussion. We're talking double.
Exactly. So, with children in it. Yeah. So, even though it's an E, that's still feels that they can't always spend for themselves. You lose your teacher who's supposed to lead you out of the building for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you got a bunch of kids that are on there. Yeah. I agree.
I mean, this is a very open floor plan, especially with that middle area. They come, if they're on the second floor, they come down the stairs and the exits are pretty readily apparent. Like I said, I mean, they're doing smoke detection, they're doing fire alarm, they're gonna have early notification. I mean, the large multi-purpose room, you exit out the very front or you exit to the sides out directly to the exterior. And the 3 stairs that serve the second floor, they exit right by the exterior exit to the building.
First kids in here.
Anyone here's changed my mind? Are trying to do so.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it. That's with my child, I would. Yeah. Or grandchild. I'll make a motion to deny.
I'll say.
Got a first and second to deny. Those all in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion is denied.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have 240636 Stacked TSIN, Whitestown.
This one, variance is for the construction of an elevator shaft using fire stop sealant. The reason why we sent this to you is, after speaking with, Matt Cronley, this is just something we haven't seen before. We thought this would be something you guys should look at.
Okay, let's thank our RTM consultants. So we've got a couple of variances for, one is addressing the rated shaft wall assembly where a column inside the elevator shaft protrudes into the interface of that wall. And the second variance has to do with a fire barrier forming a shaft for HVAC, dealing with its interface with a concrete slab. So the designers provided a couple of engineering judgments. Just to help you, the drawings, there's a lot of drawings there. There's a drawing A10.1, and the detail for the column is in the upper left-hand corner of that sheet. And then for the other issue, there's a detail in the upper right-hand corner of sheet A7.2. So I don't know exactly where those fall in the sequence of drawings that you have, but that'll give you a picture of what this is. So as I understand it, we've reviewed this had a meeting last week with the Zionsville code officials, and I understand that they're not opposed, although I'll let them speak. If they wish to, they are here. But the first one involves, again, the protrusion of a column into the 1 hour wall for the elevator hoistway. They're proposing some specific fire stopping material on each side of the column and then filling the back side of that with mineral wool insulation.
Good. You say this was a new product?
I'm sorry.
Did somebody say this was a new product?
He just said that he hadn't seen this request come before us before.
Oh, okay.
It's one of these where it's in the field, an anomaly that has to be resolved by an engineering judgment. So that's probably why you have it.
Okay. And you said top right corner of A7.2, the floor shaft wall?
Yes. And then the column and the shaft wall or the elevator shaft is a 10.1 in the upper left-hand corner. So I'll describe briefly the one regarding the HVAC shaft with it. It's a fire barrier that stops at the underside of a concrete slab and then begins again on the top side. My own opinion is that that's not necessarily a violation because the code requires termination of a shaft to be basically deck to deck. It's not like a firewall. But we do have the inside. What you've got is interface of two different materials. So typically that would be a joint treatment of some kind. A fire rated joint. Or again, there's nothing that was available for this exact configuration. And the issue I've just stated, as it was cited by the town, is that the inner liner panel of that wall isn't continuous beyond the slab. So that happened, then I wouldn't be here. I believe that's the issue. So again, they're proposing a specific fire stop material, and they provided an engineering judgment for that. They're alluding to a section that I talked about before. It's in section 703 that allows alternative methods, but it's kind of a loosey-goosey thing. And, if the local official decides that, well, it's not really documented perfectly and in some list of detail, then I want you to get a variance. So there are jurisdictions in the state that do that, and they perfectly have the right to do that. So that's why we're here with both these variances. The building is, I should have said, it's a 3-story self-storage building. It's type 2B construction. It is fully sprinklered for an NP of 13.
Yes, sir.
We're not opposed to the variance as submitted. We worked with them for the solution. We're not opposed to it.
Make a motion to approve both of them? No, just one.
Just one.
Yeah.
Second.
First, second, approved. All in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have 240637 A through D, Project Zodiac, Fort Wayne.
This variance has 4 parts to it. The department recommend approval for variances A, B, and C. And variance D deals with not wanting to ventilate at H4 I.
Make a motion to approve variances A, B, and C.
Second. Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Pass.
The college
Sally back.
consultants. So yeah, variance D is to the indoor storage area ventilation. As you know, a lot of times we get a variance to that. The way the building code, it takes all the H occupancies, H1 through 5, lumps them all into the same category and says ventilate it. Doesn't tell you how to ventilate it, except gives you just a random generation. Now, when we have hazardous materials, especially in a data center like this, where the cost to lose the data center would be incredible, we do hazard risk analysis. There's no option in the current code that we adopted in Indiana to do the hazard risk analysis to do it. So what was done on this facility is a hazard risk analysis. You don't have it because some of the proprietary data that's in this particular facility. But what ends up happening is just protecting it in accordance with the mechanical code meets that requirement, but we're using the standard ventilation to go ahead and do that. The H4 is just for water treatment plant materials. So we treat the water, we use an H4. It's not a flammable or combustible material. It's just a health hazard. But the ventilation rates that we continuously run in that or exceed the amount, but it's not on a separate system, which is what the code would require. So it is a separate system in that we're providing the mechanical ventilation for the room, which also satisfies the hazardous materials ventilation for the room, but we don't have a separate standalone system. This particular data center is, it's backed up with emergency generators and enormous emergency generators. So we do have the emergency power for the mechanical ventilation system. So that's where we are on this variance. It's more of a technicality, just to allow us to use the hazard risk analysis, which allows us to use the standard mechanical code ventilation as opposed to using the fire code ventilation, which again, doesn't really address any particular hazard. You have the plans, if you're looking at plans, there's the 2 little water treatment rooms at the end of each wing down there. Just a small things that we treat the water that we're using to cool the data cores. Because we need it to be neutral, pH neutral. Yeah.
Towards trash and it's water treatment chemicals.
Right, so it's in solution most of the time.
Yeah. So I'm gonna get you the plans you can come on.
You need to download them before you can.
What solution?
Oh, the material?
Just check this issue.
I'm surprised I was just checking to see if it was on the application.
I do see some sulfuric acid.
Well, it's in the sulfuric acid form.
Okay.
Yeah. It's got a really long name. I'm not even gonna try to.
The exhaust will be provided.
Right, so and I'm sorry, the mechanical engineer helped me write this one because he wanted the terms to be more mechanically. So we have the H4 storage areas that are required to be provided with the mechanical exhaust ventilation. The exhaust rate requires the system to operate continuously unless it's designed or prepared. So we're using the fresh air requirements of the Indiana code to be met. The specialty exhaust systems will be provided and designed based on the specific hazard areas. So that's the language of the hazard risk assessment. So in the risk assessment, the specialty design is met by the mechanical ventilation system. So when we design the system, when they designed the system for the building, the air handling in those particular rooms was designed keeping in mind the H4 occupancy. So it meets the 1 hour air change forever, but it's not a separate exhaust system necessarily. Am I doing this backwards?
Is this, but is there any flammable at all?
No, no flammable materials. So yeah, so this is sulfuric acid within it, which was a sprinkler variance. That's why it's mentioned in the sprinkler variance is up above. So in the particular variance application, they're using the specialty exhaust system is part of the overall mechanical system that provides the fresh air requirements. So I don't have.
Having a dedicated air, makeup air
Exactly.
and exhaust.
Exactly. I don't have.
For that room.
I have a
Lucky
single
North.
system that's providing both the mechanical code compliance and the fire code compliance. Does that make sense? More sense?
Cost down.
Well, yeah, that's the problem with the mechanical code is it doesn't tell you where to put, sorry, the fire code doesn't tell you where to put the exhaust, and it doesn't even tell you to do a risk assessment in the one that we're doing. It's just the one per CFM, one. The mechanical code does for the ventilation rate, and for the chemicals, it allows you to use the hazardous material calculation to figure out where you need to put that. So if your material is heavier than air, you'll put it at the bottom. If it's lighter than air, you'll put it at the top. So that's all wrapped into the hazard risk assessment. So the ventilation that's provided runs continuously, also provides the fresh air requirements for the room. So I have the single system as opposed to having the multiple systems. And again, in honesty, probably if this wasn't this facility, we don't necessarily even do the hazardous exhaust for this particular material, just because of how it's stored in the tank and how it's done. So just the 1 air change per hour means absolutely nothing for a continuous ventilation system when we're talking about this, because you have the hydraulic acid spill. The 1 air change per hour doesn't really do anything for you, right?
So when you walk into the room.
Exactly. But you would have to, if we have this material, even if we have that exhaust system, you would have to open the door and stand there and let it air out. Most of our H4 occupancies, if it's just got the standard code exhaust, doesn't necessarily meet that we don't take the risk. So a lot of the places where we store these materials, the protocol on the door and the safety assessment is to open the door, to let it stand, give it a second to ventilate out, and then enter the room. A lot of these don't have great mechanical systems for it because we're not doing hazard risk analysis. Our bigger facilities are, but a lot of the existing ones that we have do not.
How big is this room? I'm sorry.
It's large but small.
Oh, okay.
It's large for a water treatment plant, but it's just because it's on the end of the wing. Give me a second to open it because I can't.
Kind of a storage room, so that's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
So is this comparable to all their other sites as well?
Yes and no. We had to do, if you were on, well, you were on a lot of conversations. This is in his jurisdiction. Part of the problem is, this is the first time they've used the 2012. So all of these other ones are designed to newer code standards. So this was a little bit hard for them to wrap their heads around and tweak it down. So this was why this variance was filed, because they weren't sure that the language in our code allowed them to do this, where the language in the newer codes would allow them to do the hazard risk assessment, and they can provide the ventilation system that works for the area that they have. So the ventilation system that we're using, and that was the same with the fire alarm code, they're using a different type of panel with a different reporting system that we don't allow in our code. So I think we started off with a lot of variances and we managed to kind of squish it all down into these. So this one is just because the system that they're providing to exhaust this room is the one that they use and the one that's been designed by their engineers to address the hazard that they have. And I'll get you the square footage here. The facility, when you look at it on paper, looks tiny, but in reality, the thing is enormous.
Okay.
It's hard to look at just the. Sorry, the internet is a little slow.
Okay, 100 square feet, 12,000 square feet. She's okay.
1,200 square feet per room. Actually, that's for 2 rooms, so that's a 600 square foot apiece.
And they're gonna supply and exhaust it off of the building systems.
Well, it actually has its own, it's separate from the cooling systems for the data center. So since it ends up there, it's kind of its own air handling system off of it. That just does both. So there I don't even know that we needed this variance, to be honest with you, because we meet the requirements of the code. They just wanted to make sure that it was clear that it wasn't 2 separate systems, which they read our code to require.
For the 2 rooms.
No, 2 separate systems for the mechanical air handling, because they need to put in this room can be occupied. So they need to have the outside air requirements for fresh air requirements and the mechanical CFM requirements for that. So they're using the same system because it runs continuously, it's on emergency power. Their same system will provide the mechanical code requirements and the fire code requirements. So the variance was just say that we're using the same system for both. We meet both of them, but we're using one system to provide both the fresh air requirements under the mechanical code and the exhaust for it's just rare that we would have this. Normally it's just a fan exhaust system and it's not an air handling system.
You still have to make it up.
Well, it's still made up, yeah. It's just made up with the outside air, yeah.
Even if it's hollow.
Right, but it would just be a stationary exhaust fan instead of the fancier air handling unit that they're using. It's just not an exhaust fan where we just have a duct that goes up to a constant exhaust unit that's tied to a emergency generator. This is going through an air handling unit where we're bringing in fresh air, we're supplying the room, and then they're doing 100% outside exhaust with the same system.
And this is for 4 rooms, right? Because you got one on each end of each wing or whatever they call it in the H.
I believe it's just 2 rooms. It's one for each building. There's the wings, the top wing and the bottom wing, each have their own.
I thought by one, it's like you got one on each end that's identified as an H. That's H3. I'm looking at that number 2 occupancy classification diagram.
I don't like the last sentence, that it's not gonna run continuous when you have acid in there. That just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, you're dealing with corrosion. Yeah.
Aluminum that. Yeah. That's what we put in there.
Christina, is it
I'm
4?
sorry, yeah, so they have 4 different on the.
I just have problems with the scrolling back and forth, moving in that place, but yeah, it looks like it has one on each end of each wing or whatever.
So if you want, we can cut out that portion of the risk analysis that explains how the system runs. Because I don't want to be wrong here. But my understanding is that it was continuous.
It isn't.
Yeah,
This says not.
Says it not.
And you're per NFPA 70.
If it's continuous, I'm more comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you looked at this, Mr. Being here?
We have been out, and we've discussed it with them ahead of time. But I wasn't,
I'm pretty sure they said it was continuous.
I cannot recall, I can't recall now.
It's okay, we can table it and find out on that one. I mean, I don't think this one holds up anything. The important ones were the not sprinklering the roof. It still allows you unlimited area building.
Okay, so vote to table this.
And I'll send the actual language to Denise on that. We have to alter the variance application.
Make a motion to table.
That, apologize, we wrote these variances in January, and then they didn't want to file them until they were sure that the plans had all been released from the state without the variances. Huh?
That has been a first and second to table. Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Supplemental rate, it's only 11, 25, 11, 25. It's up to you.
We'll go bid well on the next
Still
step.
one- Well, there's still the Holiday Park one, not Holiday Park, Frederick Douglass Park was.
Yeah,
Oh, I missed that one.
So maybe you guys do that one.
yeah, let's knock that
Then
one out.
take a break. So I'm accused.
Okay.
Oh, you're cutting out anyhow.
Just taking my break early.
That's all I say.
All right, so we're at 240639.
All right, this one, it's just that we sent to you. We have no issue with fee. We do request that it be approved. A has a request for the 2 overhead doors to be installed at the path of egress. If the door would remain open, the reason I was sent this to you is because I've been seeing one where the path of egress would go through 2 overhead doors. Come to us before.
You can pull up the drawing, G 101 Michigan West. So you get an idea what the second floor looks like with the track. The G 201 or G 101, I'm sorry. I'm trying to. That's the variance that goes right there. We don't have that gathering. That's not right. Yeah, that's all the other one that was approved. Citation, I wish I could rename those better. Maybe those first group is the one that was staff already approved, so it's down further. Try to pull that one up right there, see what that is right there. I got a bunch of drawings that I sent in as well. Yeah, kind of gives you an idea of the running track.
Media. Picture.
I don't know what that is. Oh. Those drawings come out now. Not hotel, but
Yeah, those pictures.
it seems like that LiDAR stuff. Well, I'll leave it right there. You can see. So here we have, so this is a very large, it probably takes up about over half the second floor of the running track does, pretty much. And here we have an overhead door, and there's another entrance running track over here that has the overhead doors. And this is fully sprinkler fire alarm building. So this was installed for the owners afterwards. And what they established this building as a emergency cooling and heating center. So for instance, if there's folks that can't afford to pay their heat or stay cool, they can come here. And these doors will stay open. They're locked open and the chains are padlocked and staff only has those keys. And the only time those doors would be shut if they were to, if I remember correctly, I'll make sure to say this right, Todd. So if they lose power to the building, they'll come in for the whole building to cool off or stay warm. Those doors will be shut only if they lose power to the building and you have the circumstance where it's very cold outside or very hot outside. People don't have the ability at their home or apartments to stay cool or warm. And so they'll bring in a portable generator that will be hooked up. Staff will close those doors. Nobody will be on that second floor. This is for folks to be in the gym area on the first floor, which has plenty of exits. And they just didn't want to have a on-site generator to supply the entire building for the emergency service. So the only time that, like I said, the only time those will be closed if they have to hook up a portable generator, they've lost power to the site. And this will operate the mechanical systems to heat or cool, and everybody will be funneled into the first floor area. So there'll be no occupancy on that second floor. So it is part of the means of egress. But those will stay just like they are unless they have to open the building for that emergency center. And then again, everybody will be on the first floor, there'll be nobody on the second floor. I got Todd here, he's representing the owner, and he can explain a little more about the operational intent here for the facility. So if you want to go ahead and kind of explain a little better for
Hi, I'm Todd Urnell with Meticulous Design. These doors were added late in the design process. I believe they were included in the reviewed plans. They were the local code enforcement folks reviewed the plans also. It wasn't until the building inspector came out and looked at those. He says, and we explained to him what the deal was with it. They said, well, we want to be able to provide shelter for folks for heat and cold extremes. But if we lose power, we want to be able to keep at least the gymnasium cool. So the emergency power is limited just to the HVAC to that gym, which is why they want those doors to be able to come down, keep the heat in or keep the cold in, as the case may be, within that gym. And at that point, there's no AC upstairs, so it's going to be hot or cold or whatever upstairs. It's just for the one very rare occasion that they would be sheltering the public in the building and they would lose power to the building. And again, in that case, they're just using that gymnasium and they've got, egress.
Egress for 2,500 people in there. Yeah. So
How many of those are there?
two.
There's two. So since you don't have the plans, the building is a two full basketball courts gymnasium. Double, so it's big. Running track running around those courts, but the track actually goes out into the main part of the building. So where you're seeing these doorways, as you're looking at that picture, you see the gym there below, kind of overlooking the gym. Oh, there you go.
There we go. Oh, there it is. So here and here is where the doors will be.
Right. So we've got, even if we did have somebody up here and these doors happen to be down, the emergency egress for the running track is here. That's an exterior stairwell to the outside. There is a stairway here that provides egress for these meeting rooms here out this way or back towards that. But so we're talking about just closing doors here and here to keep the cool air inside that gym, and then they're going to leave the rest of the building unused.
If you lose power, they don't close automatically.
No.
Somebody with a key has to close the door.
Right.
There's no signs there that say exit, is there?
No.
Because, in the OSHA world, if I came in, I'd be writing it as a passage. Overhead doors be used for an exit. I've written that several times so far this year. Because you gotta get the employees used to, in the event of emergency, going out a walk-through door instead of an overhead door, because it may be closed. But you as a whole have control.
Correct.
When the doors are open or closed, and you can get off that second level via lighted emergency exit, right?
And unfortunately, the photos didn't come out in color, but we've got some zoom in pictures where they have two keys. Padlock the chain, so it can't be rotated to manually shut the door. And then they got electric switch key operation to motorize it down. And both those are locked in a locked position, and maintenance staff has those and nobody else does.
Total control of the door.
Yeah.
But why is this not just a normal swing door?
They looked through all the different options and it's everything that they could come up with. There was.
This is a design thing. They just like the overhead doors.
Well, I'll read what.
That's what it seems like.
Yeah, well, here's what it says. It says double swing doors on hold opens were not used in the interest of eliminating the additional obstacles those door leaves would present on the track. And also to achieve a larger opening, 8 by 6 by 9 feet wide, than the typical swing doors.
You've seen them, we always build them into, just set them back into the wall so it's not really, I hear that, but it's not really an obstruction. You can avoid that in the design. So I mean, for me, I just don't understand.
Doors or.
Yeah, it was swing doors. I would never, I guess in my mind, put an overhead door here. I've never heard of that before. No one's ever tried it.
Again, it was kind of unique circumstances.
Doors.
Yeah, willing door.
Willing to work, yeah.
This facility became something else. It was sold, or all of a sudden now you have overhead doors, right? That maybe, I understand your operation, but maybe somebody else doesn't operate the same way. I don't understand personally why the doors are just not used.
Well, that's why I asked the question. That's what.
No, I appreciate it.
Tim was prepared.
I said, actually, why didn't you do this? And that was.
Sounds like a designer.
Yeah.
Just wants the overhead door.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Dave Carpenter. We have talked about this at length and in our department, and we don't see a problem. Our concerns were the travel distance and then the occupant load up on that second floor. But if nobody's on that second floor on that side of the track where the meeting rooms are and multi-purpose and fitness room is, that would hold a significant load up there, but just to keep all the people in that gym area would be.
Again, that's the only place where there would be HVAC is in that gym. They wouldn't have enough power to power the entire
There'd be
building.
no lights or nothing on that side of the building. In fact,
It'll be warmer upstairs, a lot warmer.
I still don't see. Just because doors can be used.
He said maintenance will have keys. In a time of emergency where you want these closed, what if maintenance is not available?
Yeah.
Is somebody staff,
It's actually the
management?
director. I mean, it's one set of keys. The director has the O&M manual and he's been, been cautioned that, this is the one and only time that these doors should ever be engaged, is when you're lost power. Otherwise, they stay up, they stay open. And that was the concern is, with the normal door, somebody might.
Person can change out 5 years from now. It's a different process. Yeah, I'm just saying overall, all of a sudden we approve a overhead door in a situation that in a path of egress that you would never design. You just would never do that. And all of a sudden we've approved it and something changes in the future. I'm like, I'm personally not a proponent for this. Because they can make this work with doors.
It's not built yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, they have, it didn't have to give them a temporary occupancy permit, so.
Yeah.
Wow.
The pictures are there.
How did that get approved?
Last PDF.
How did that?
Well, the inspector code.
Hang on, I'm gonna look at info.
Yeah, it was during final inspection, I believe.
Right,
when they
right.
decided, yeah.
Get the change, you got the padlock, pick up.
See,
That's really why you're here, because it's built.
exactly.
If it had been on my plan review, I would have said, you can't have doors there, but they did show in my drawing. That, then they came back later and said, well, the owner, they're trying to, there's a lot of these warming and cooling centers around town. And they're just running out of space because they're using churches and.
Can I ask a question? Were these overhead doors on the original drawings that went through plan review?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they went in at like 90%. So, the design was,
Say that now.
but they were on the reviewed plans, yes.
So I do this for a living. When I hear 90%, and all of a sudden it got on to 100% set that didn't go through plan review. My question is whether when plan review reviewed and approved these overhead doors, it was clear that these two exit doors were
Yeah, they were listed in
on the drawings, very clear. I guess I don't know the answer to that. I mean, I hear what you guys are saying.
And again,
I think I did 50% DD, but I reviewed them, they weren't there, so I think the
So-
next set.
They're in the file.
they were
I
down.
don't know who the staff person is for this. Yeah, I'm curious, because I guess that might make a difference to me. Maybe there's an explanation. I don't know. Because that's a dangerous precedent to set. How let's allow overhead doors in the
Very
property.
temporary. It's not for,
Yeah, but you don't know what'll happen in the future. Somebody all of a sudden starts using it to lock. I don't know. That's why you never do this.
We didn't put a condition on there if the Indianapolis ever sells it, we have to remove the doors.
Yeah.
Yep.
Excuse me, I'd like to speak up, please.
yes, go ahead, please. Who is this?
Hi, name is Daniel Blackledge with the Indianapolis Fire Department. I was actually the person who did the final inspection on this park facility. And I called out those doors. They were not on the original approved plans by the city or the state. That's why they're going for the variance. It was written up at the city level that we caught those for your information, sir.
That's why Mr. Poppich is not here.
Bingo.
Yeah. I don't know how you would get a state design release with overhead doors on the drawings for any reason whatsoever.
How many employees are at this facility?
I think about a dozen, if I recall. Yeah.
This is brand new. When was it built?
Just
Oh,
ribbon
completed.
cut.
2 months ago.
Was it?
Less than a month ago, yeah, ribbon cut, yeah. Because I reviewed it back in 2022. And, it's a big project, so.
Just one system? Is there two systems feeding the place?
I'm sorry.
Are there two mechanical systems feeding that area?
You got emergency station and then you got.
There's one mechanical system feeding that gym. There are two others feeding the rest of the building.
Not the rest of the building, this.
Yeah, just
This track facility.
one big system is running that gym.
So if it's capable of doing that, why would you need the doors? I know maybe a little cost.
So they're looking at if there's a power failure and they don't have power to the building, they'll bring in a portable generator set. And so the mechanical system for the gym is the only thing on the emergency circuit. So when they plug that generator in, that's the only system that'll work on the generator.
But it's heating and cooling the gym now with.
With live power, yes, but they're just looking at it when there's a power failure to the building. Then that generator set would operate that mechanical system, because they don't have primary power because it's out.
I understand. Here's the big what if. You've got employees. You've got two garage doors that, of the ocean center. That's where I'm going. If something's happening, an OSHA compliance officer come in there. For what? An entry of complaint? That's gonna be 2 citations for them doors at 9,000 apiece. I mean, I've written that happen. I mean, that's a big piece of pie you're gonna have to swallow and choke down. then you're gonna say, well, we're gonna argue that. Well, you can't argue it. I mean, Indiana mirrors the Fed OSHA standards word for word. Now, if this was a Fed state, that'd be $12,000 fees that were cheaper for some reason. That's, I mean, if I was to walk in there, I could not turn a blind eye to that because it's in plain sight. And if there's a complaint referencing that, I have to stay focused on that. Then if I see something else in plain sight, I'm just wearing out ink pens there. I mean, even though it's a new structure, that's how okay, I'll shut up now.
By the way, there's other ways of dealing with it. Some type of draft curtain or something that drops down. I mean, there are other simpler ways of doing this without an overhead door. It seems to me that somebody had what they thought was a good idea during construction, added the overhead door, got caught on inspection, right? And now seeking a variance to be able to keep it. There are other ways of handling this based on air conditioning and heat issue that don't cause an egress issue, regardless of how many people are in the building, regardless of the process, regardless of really all of that. And it's just a very bad precedent to set. I would make a motion to deny unless you want to withdraw it.
That's.
They deny it, then that's it, yeah. We would withdraw it because then we're gonna have to figure out something else.
Another solution.
Another solution, come back in and refile something that's different, that more suits everybody's. I mean, it's a run.
No motorized vehicles, right? If you're aware.
Oh, no golf carts, no nothing. They're just strictly people. It's all it's used for is running track. The issue comes in that for the calculation of the means of egress for that little wing where that meeting area is, we needed that distance down that track to get to that exterior stair for meeting the number of exits for that part of the building.
It's the what if factor.
Yeah.
I can't in good conscience. No, I'm just being honest with you.
It looks to me like it's going down to the denial route. I'd rather just withdraw it and take it back and say, okay, rethink it and again, put some double doors in there maybe and the old opens and comply with code.
They make life a lot easier and financially in case.
I'm sure they can use those doors somewhere else on the Parks and Network somewhere, I would think, maybe.
Sure.
So.
Withdrawal.
Yes, sir.
Good idea.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Sorry?
I'm good with short, because this poor guy here got
All the others belong with the holiday farms.
Holiday farm.
I think we're gonna take a quick break.
So you folks.
I mean, for you, Darby.
Half hour long.
Is that? Yeah, you're the boss.
Yes. We did that, so we'll be back here at, let's just say 12:20.
What you said?
What time is it right now? So,
What you think?
we're gonna 30-minute break. So we'll be back here about 12:20. Yeah.
I think so.
You're all here for the same thing. Yeah, a number of.
Okay, I got it.
All crew.
Beat the meter.
The overhead doors.
Attached to it.
Right, good job. Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. Right. I believe we are at 240627. Audie Farms Clubhouse, exterior active pool in Zionsville. Here's from IDHS first.
This variance deals with the, width between the edge of the pool and the open door. The code requires that the width be 48 inches, and they are offering 40.5 inches.
Is there a proponent for this one?
There, I'm Betsy Garfield with Hankey Development. We're present here with our team. We're happy to answer any questions. So.
Why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about your project and what you're asking for?
Absolutely. So, this is a project in general in Zionsville, just north on 421. And this is a project that we started probably about 5 or 6 years ago. Actually even longer than that, probably 7 or 8 now. It's about a 500-acre development, residential. And there is a P-Tie, actually the last course we designed, it's P-Tie golf course community that runs through there. There's a clubhouse that we just recently completed about, a little less than a year ago. And then we completed the pool this past spring, early summer in time to open. There is a large pool that the clubhouse itself is about 70,000 square feet. It has significant spaces for, events, dining, really caters to the entire neighborhood and non-residents members as well. Definitely like a family-driven club. This isn't like wear sport clothes and things like that. We have, basketball, and we've got fitness and casual dining, things like that, all within this facility. The pool that we recently completed is for, swim lessons, swim team, leisure swim, things like that. There is an outdoor kind of gathering bar area that has kind of has these large like window doors that you kind of see, they open and close, and it's like the entire length. We did that so that we could have a little bit more of like a space that was a little more protected from the elements, God bless you, in this area. And so the matter that has been brought to us is these doors were installed there. They are about, I believe the code is requiring 48 inches. These measure at 43 inches. We have since been informed of that. We typically build things underground infrastructure roads. So we are more than happy to, we were more than happy to make those inoperable. They have been inoperable the entire extent that we've been open. Our staff is very much aware of that. The members and users of this pool are also very much aware of that those do not get opened. And so we've continued to comply with that. It's off by about those 5 inches. And this area will likely close, into however long the pool season kind of lasts, early fall. And we can make adjustments to that, but that is the nature of it. As you can kind of see here, the pool is there, and then essentially where you see kind of those like small squares, those are the kind of column supports that keep it up, and it is short of just slightly short of the required. So that is why there was an infraction cited, and that is why we have made them inoperable and asking for a variance so we can not shut this down, but we can, make adjustments as needed. So thank you all.
Got a couple questions. So the dimension up there, it shows 40.5 inches. Is that a sunbathing shelf along through there, or is that actually part of the deck that you're measuring to? Because it looks like that's for the steps. I wasn't sure.
So the very first part of that, if you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, would be gutters, and then they are like it is like a low shelf, so that's probably what. That's just the stairs, yeah. Uh-huh.
So where is the deck? Because you're supposed to have the 48 inches and I'm trying to see where the,
Oh, like point out there, yeah.
I'm Casey with the Boone County Health Department. So Zionsville building is the one that wrote this citation up. I was out there the day he did it. So their bar / restaurant that's here has accordion style doors. They meet the 48 inches with the doors closed, but when they fold the accordion style doors open, it's 40 and a half from where the door is like folded together to where you're gonna start entering the pool step. These are all steps down into the pool. These are some shelves on each side.
that's what I was wondering, because it says 40 and a half inches and it looked like it was going into the
Yeah, they're just.
pool, not
I think
actually
he
the deck.
measured the edge for step.
When these close, they kind of close like this. So it basically is like, and then when they open, then they're flush. So just to kind of.
Kind of see that at the end there on that last column.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
Point that out.
Yes, right here. That's, yeah.
Fold it.
Thank you. Sorry, I have a 9-year-old, so.
No, that's okay.
Perhaps.
No, I thought the image might.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in your application, you say that both the pool and the building are existing. When were they built?
Yeah.
These were constructed, over the course of the last, over the course of the last 12, 14 months. The building was probably over the last 2 years. So this is a part of, the same like kind of property. And then the main part of the building has been completely finished since, the end of last summer. So this area was just completed.
Completed for over years. The pool that's new?
Yes, that area was kind of the stationary area for a lot of the equipment. And then as the building started to be finished, then we watched that kind of move away, and then the pool was completed, and dug at the same time, so.
So they're not separate projects. It's one.
No, it was all kind of
So
sequential.
it's not really existing. It's just you're building and building and building and building.
Yeah, yeah. So they were doing a lot of work, and obviously just being an outdoor area versus inside, you're kind of watching your timing thanks to Indian weather, so.
I, of course, when I was looking at all this, I started having the same kind of questions. I don't want to get beyond this first question, but there just seems to be a lot of issues, code related, involving the clubhouse and involving the pool. Of course, I build,
Yeah.
right? We build multifamily, right? I can't recall a situation where we had something like this.
Yeah.
You know, these things get caught in plan review, they get caught in, you get a pool permit, gets caught by the county health department, right? These things get caught, we don't get C of Os,
Right.
right? We don't get approvals, we don't get to open our facilities, we don't get to open up our pools. That's not to say that what you guys are doing here is not a fair request. Of course it is,
Yeah.
right? And all these items probably need to be reviewed individually, right?
Yeah.
But my concern is that we've got a situation where how does this happen? Right? That we've got so many, and I'm not sure,
Yeah.
you know, I'd like to ask that question, even though I know it's related to a lot of these other things too, but I'd like to ask that question, maybe get some quick response.
I'm glad you did. I mean, like we, over the last, 15, 18 years, I truly can't recall a time that, that the majority of our business, we are land developers. So everything that's under your feet, infrastructure, sewer, water, we've built, millions and millions of dollars of roads for public infrastructure. We've done, lakes, drainage projects, wetlands, you name it, all across the board. And I can't even truly recall a time between Grand Park, Chatham, Holiday, any of those that we significantly ever delayed someone starting to build their home for a lot of the underground things, a lot of the underground permits approvals and ongoing inspections by municipalities. I agree, certainly. And so you know, we are thankful that we've been able to work with, you know, these folks that have been able to point out things and show us how we can find some answers and make sure that this building gets opened. This is the second building we built in the last 10 years. So, I mean, this is not something we do every single day. We are, you know, and so we too were surprised at this and this, but we are trying and working really, really hard to get these resolved. And we're super grateful to have support and from the county, from the state and city to be able to work these things out. We're willing to work these things out to make sure that this building stays open. It's a major part of this community. Zionsville, things like that. So I appreciate it. I'll acknowledge that, you know, we too don't want to be in this situation. And certainly in, you know, 4 or 5 years, if we're doing another, you know, building project, we've learned a lot. So
do you have your own construction staff? Are you hiring third-party contractors?
Yeah. So Shield Sexton built the building. And then we have other general contractors. OEG's here today. They built the pool. So, yeah, we don't build.
So
we're getting there.
I don't want to use strong language, but clearly there's a bit of a failure somewhere.
Yeah, where was the disconnect between design and build?
Yeah.
Sure.
Because the design would not have designed these things out of code. I've built a lot of pools and we get caught all the time.
Yeah.
And been told in permit, nope, you gotta do X, Y, Z. And we have to go for a variance before we can even build that pool.
Yeah.
So I'm curious too, there's some disconnect going on somewhere, or we've got a situation where people are not building what's being
What's
designed.
intent? Yeah. Like I think you'll see with, you know, obviously this one, you know, we've already like adjusted to that. We will, you know, and I know that there will be other things before you today and know that we take this very, very seriously. And we too were, you know, extremely frustrated. But we are willing to make these things work. We don't want to, you know, we employ, you know, kids from 16 years old for their first jobs all the way up to, you know, vets, retired, special needs. Like we have about 140 people that we issue W-2s for in the year. We do not want to close this building. People rely on us as well as our members. And so we're here to address those. I wish I had a better answer.
I appreciate that because, you know, some of these are going to be really tough.
Sure, I
Right?
understand
Some of them are going to be like, oh, are we going to set precedent by giving a variance for something that typically you wouldn't ask for a variance on just to alleviate the contractor from having to fix their problems,
Correct.
right? Because that's what it's really about, trying to avoid someone else who installed it wrong,
Yes.
right? From paying for that, right? And again, it may not be this one issue right here, because this is probably the simplest one.
Right, and this is pretty unique structure. Yeah.
Right, but just understand, you know, ultimately, you know, just because the variance has been requested could be a very bad precedent that all of a sudden you've got contractors from all over the state asking owners to step forward for a variance because they built something wrong.
Correct. Yes, I agree.
As a contractor,
I completely.
I would never do that.
Yes.
I'm just gonna fix it.
I've rebuilt so many curbs. I hear you. Yes. Absolutely. Or been all over contractors for not backfilling, keeping silt fencing up. I mean, that's our world down there.
Yes,
I completely agree with you. Trust me. Yeah.
And I apologize because I know you're standing up here having to represent
Things that
in a way all of
learned.
this.
Yeah.
You have your full contractor here, you said?
Yes, we have everyone here today. Yes. Yeah.
And to explain what happened?
So this really isn't, it's an issue with the pool area, but we didn't construct nor design the pavilion where the door creates the obstacle. I think so we had nothing to do with that pavilion structure. But I know some of the solutions that have been suggested is just to make the doors inoperable.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I'm
This is Chad
sorry.
Bruick.
Yeah, Chad Bruick with OEG.
Yeah.
But I know in partnership here, just to find a way forward, what the staff with Hinkie has currently done is they've made these inoperable. So these doors cannot function currently. And that way, this situation does not occur.
Yeah.
So currently they're inoperable, and I believe the solution has been, if a variance is not given for this situation, then I believe they're going to go ahead and remove the doors permanently and have a permanent solution so that this is no longer even a conversation point.
Yeah, it does not, it affects it in the sense that right now, if everything is closed, it can be kind of this indoor,
They
area.
function as a window, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's completely
window.
inoperable.
Mhm.
This is not a current condition.
Yeah.
So there's no egress concerns with those being permanently closed?
No, because it's a completely open air structure.
Yeah, so it's completely, like, this is all like patio all around here. Mhm. And then these are just sliding doors. These are basically just like big steel columns, steel posts that it all kind of connects to, and then it's like a.
So it's like this right.
Yeah, it's like but with glass, exactly. This is exactly what it is. Yeah.
That's
So instead of it just being a normal outdoor park pavilion, we put doors on it so that you can have a little privacy, you can have,
Affect anything
you know.
else.
Right, when you say inoperable, what does that really mean? Because you can make them operable again. Right?
They've
Pretty much for now.
been permanently fastened shut. So, I mean, unless you're gonna send a contractor out there to completely remove screws and hardware, they cannot function.
So was there some type of hardware used to make them so you could not change that situation? Or make it permanently closed?
Yeah.
So as the doors accordion between each door, there is hardware that you can just screw that hardware together. So those doors cannot function or open anymore. So the screws are right almost here, right? So there's bolts and stuff and they're screwed down. So these won't even open.
And who are you with? I'm sorry.
Yes, this is Clint Cushman, who's with
I'm
Peace
with Hanky.
Development and Holiday Farms. Mhm.
I was just curious.
Yep.
So when I saw with them closed, you have the distance. That's what I was trying to figure out. When you're asking for
Correct.
40.5 inches, what I see on that drawing is it looks like it's to the steps, not to the edge of the pool.
Yeah, this here would be.
So I want to make sure you got the variance you're even looking for.
Yeah, the variance would be for this distance between here and edge of pool structure.
And that's 40.5 inches.
That's correct.
If they screw the doors down, they don't even need the variance.
That's
Correct.
Yes, if they're permanently closed.
And you're permanent,
Right.
window, it's not a variance, but so we would either want them to withdraw it or we would reject.
But that's why I'm trying to figure out, because when I see the minimum that they've got on there, the 40.5 inches, looks like it's from the open part of the doors to the steps going down into the pool, not from the edge of the pool. So I'm just trying to clarify that if they get the variance for 40.5, they actually still meet that. So you're saying from
correct.
the doors to the horizontal edge of the pool,
Mhm.
not where you're showing, you do have at least 40.5 inches there.
So to me, the way I'm looking at that is when the doors are closed, from the wall, from that glass wall to the top step is the 77-inch dimension,
Mhm.
correct?
That's correct.
Right.
Where does the water start?
Yes,
It starts
right there.
right there. That's what I'm saying. Do they have what they were asking for?
Yeah, so I thought you were getting at.
Yeah, do you have 40 inches? You have,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure that they're gonna get the variance.
Yeah. Yeah, you can show, yeah, you can send that to them.
You would want to introduce yourself first.
Brian Burkhart.
And so is that,
Where's
so that's the pool is right here. Right. So that is 40.5 inches there.
Okay.
So you got more.
Is that a coping? What is that?
You might be able to rise.
The gutter system.
You got 40.5.
Hey, can we hold
That
on?
drawing is-
There's like 5 conversations going on and I can't hear everybody. Let's have one at a time.
Let's get the focus, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not a pool guy.
It's the better system.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Let me see.
I think you need to figure out a new door.
And that's probably 48, but I can't tell.
Yeah, if it's permanently closed, that makes the most sense.
Have you done some lights inspection designs? Because he would have the exact measurements, because he's the one that measured it. Do you have his inspection report?
Yeah.
And the one who decided it, Mike, the building designs, Mike, so he, yeah, Mike Lake's, he's the one who would have actual measurements of how he shared it.
To where the water started.
Because I don't want to have us go through, get variance, and then if it can't meet that.
And the door opening to step.
Well, that's what the drawing shows. That's why I'm asking.
That's a pretty
Thank you, Sue.
small, from the edge of the pool to that door opening.
Yeah.
With the doors fixed shut, there's 77 inches, and with them accordion and open, there's 40 and a half.
But that looks like that's from the first step down. You're actually in the pool, where the deck is to the edge.
He just showed some pictures. If you could show him if you.
I'd seen those and I couldn't tell whether it's.
Okay, he's got some different ones.
Oh.
Where they actually have a tape measure going from the door to where the drop is. You can see the gutter and everything.
I got 48 inches.
Something matter of interpretation.
With the doors shut from the door to where the drop is going into the pool is 77. To where the gutter is, where you're gonna have a wet surface, is about 64. So you still got over the 48 with the doors closed.
Is the code to the water line or to the first drop?
It's for, the deck is to the edge of the pool.
Which would be the edge of water. Yeah. Not the first drop.
That's why I was trying to get clarification on what we were doing.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
There's another thing wrong with the application, I think, because it says, this one says it's for the exterior active pool, and the active pool, I think, is the one that's later, that's further north. This is called the social pool, so that would be good to fix in the variance. 'Cause right now it's saying the active pool, and that's the one that has the,
Okay.
that's not the one with the sun and shelves, right?
Like, yeah, there's stairs there. Here's
That's what I saw in 27. I was confused, but it says the active, so I kept looking about and I didn't see a building by the active pool, but it's next to the social pool. It's so you don't, usually it's so you don't fall. If it was an active pool, I'd be more concerned. If it's just a shallow, I might be fine with that, but if you're gonna walk out and you don't have space and you're falling in the deep end.
You don't leave in the bar down.
Right, that makes it even worse.
Yeah.
I also want to make sure they have enough. For what we're given, we aren't seeing them next month.
So if the doors are permanently closed, they don't need a variance, or do they need a variance?
That's the way I would.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna be.
That's my correct.
That's not what they're asking for. They're-
Oh, I
Yeah,
know.
they want to be able to open.
I want to
Why wouldn't
deny
you?
it.
You want to be able to go from.
Well, that's what we have to do.
Yeah.
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 Just to get the doors open, right? If not, you just keep.
You change the type door.
Yeah, and I mean, we can certainly look at that.
Yeah.
Or like, look
You're gonna
at
have to
fitting
change something.
on a hinge,
To
you
be
know,
in
so that it opens
compliance.
in or something like that,
I
you know?
don't think you can do that, but you could do a sliding instead of accordion.
I have to ask. I mean,
With that much,
we've already spent a lot on these doors. We'll probably just shut them. They're quite expensive. So we could probably look to close them, or we could look to work with, like, perhaps with the manufacturer that these could potentially hinge.
I was gonna say, maybe hinge in the opposite direction, so if they burning it inward and somehow outwards.
We could absolutely.
you can reverse them.
You what?
Yeah, I would think.
He's saying, no, the gentleman back here says it can happen.
Yeah, I'm the general manager of the club. Unfortunately, no, the hinge is in the middle of the door itself, so you couldn't move it in. We'd have to bring in the whole support, an additional, like, 8 inches, whatever we need,
Oh,
and then have the door come from there.
thinking is if a permanent close, put some tables and chairs on the inside, that way you've got
It's-
views.
And that's what we have, yeah. It can get a little warm this time of year, but we do that, so. But absolutely, we do, and we do that so we can lock up everything in there as well, so absolutely. Right, exactly.
You just have to go on the corner.
And certainly if it's, and to meet all of your, I mean, this is one that's very small. We can look at different options. We could bring those forward to you if you prefer. Yeah.
At the top.
All you have to do is figure out something where you do have the 48 inches
Right.
when the door is open.
Mhm.
That's all you have to do.
Yeah,
And you don't need a variance.
sure.
Right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I was either saying we could reject it, right? Or they can withdraw it.
Yeah, we
They
could-
not table it, withdraw it
Draw it.
and fix the doors. Now it just matters how many rejections they want today. Potentially.
Well, ideally, yeah, I mean, ideally,
Find out.
we're more than happy to, we're more than happy. I mean, we wouldn't be here if we weren't trying to resolve something that is, you've got tens of thousands of windows, and we're happy to withdraw that and work with those manufacturers.
Betsy,
Yeah.
can I speak? Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, sure,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so just to clarify.
This is
these-
Kent,
this
hold
is-
on. So this is Kent Rigdon. He works with our Hank development team, so he's been very
So,
much involved with the town, yeah.
To clarify, these are, it's like a nano wall, only they're doors. And you've got a series of 3 or 4 doors hinged together, and they all slide from toward the center to the outward corners. And when they slide out and they're hinged, they are sticking out with the 40.5 inches, I believe. So they would be sticking out 7 inches past the outside edge of the building, which that creates the 40.5 inches just on the 2 outer corners. The rest of the building has the required 48 inches, but those doors, as they slide out, they are on the corners at 40.5 inches. And that was the variant. We looked at going up to the header and moving the hinge and rail, track system and everything inside. That was going to be pretty difficult. We looked at, a few different options like that, and talking to Mike Lathrop with the city of Zionsville, what we determined was each of these doors, each unit in this series has a lock, just a bar lock that goes into the floor and into the header. And we screwed those locks closed. And when we say we rendered them inoperable, that's what we did. We fastened all those locks so they cannot slide open to get through the variance request. If we do not get the variance, what we'll have to do, remove the doors, probably construct like a knee wall on the north end of the building and put sliding windows in or something so we can still have that open air on the north end. But the significance of the variance is just to allow that 40.5 inch clearance, and that would be on both of the corners, outside corners of the building.
Oh,
So what are these? There's nothing, all those doors here.
These aren't doors that go inwards.
So these were the original doors that was put there, and then when the fire department came, because they opened up, we took those, moved the egress over here, and those are now those are permanent, like windows essentially. The doors only open from here out.
Okay, so this is just a permanent opening?
This is just
It's a window.
like a window.
It's a window.
Yeah, a full glass window. So your doors are from here to here on each side.
Okay.
Right.
And they open out like an accordion, and that creates the 40.5 inches at both of those outward corners.
I'm not.
I'd withdraw it.
I will deny it.
So it would be better to withdraw.
You deny it, they have to fix it,
Yeah, well, maybe that's what I'll do. I'll make a motion to deny.
or they can withdraw it,
Yeah.
but then they have to fix it.
Yeah.
Either way.
Yeah, and they're okay right now because they've made them stationary.
Right.
Right, so right now, they're within compliance right now, right? You're the variance is to see, change that. You could just keep it the way it is.
Until little Johnny comes in there with a screwdriver.
Well, a little bit more than that.
We have
Yeah.
solutions up there as well, haven't we? I mean, that,
Yeah,
when we first opened, I mean, I think it's,
it would take a lot more than that.
yeah.
What, yeah.
That's why I was offering, if you want to withdraw. If not, I'm gonna make a motion to deny.
Yeah, we can withdraw that and look at options, absolutely. I mean,
I don't think there's a table.
No, no.
I wouldn't make a motion with table. I would reject.
yeah. That's completely fine. I mean, this is an area that we could absolutely find some options, and we appreciate certainly the input, you know, to try to remedy this.
I think we should have withdraw, right? Yeah.
You guys got a lot going on up there.
There's a
of
lot,
Construction, a lot of
yeah,
growth. It's
it is. It really is. And that's, so that I genuinely do appreciate, because there would be a lot of very angry people throughout that we'd have to deal with. So thank you for at least hearing this. We really appreciate it. So,
Well, we understand.
I know, we're working through it too. So,
So that one is a withdraw.
yeah, we can withdraw that. We can,
You gotta figure out a solution.
yeah, absolutely. Uh-huh.
So, moving.
But we can just plan to keep it as is, just for the record. We'll keep it inoperable, we'll keep it marked off, so. And really, it works very well, it's that way too, so,
And you're understanding, and I appreciate your passion.
yeah.
Okay, so we can move on to
Yeah,
24.
we don't want to do things that are wrong. I'm a rule follower.
This one, there's two variances with it. The request is to deviate using VGBA drains. And B is request to use the 4 inlets as a substitute in lieu of the main drain. So it's required.
Yes.
Okay, we're still on.
Yes.
Yes.
Are we now moving to the pool?
Yeah.
This is so.
You just want to knock out the pool ones all at once?
Yeah.
No,
Right, should be pool or?
so we are on 240629.
Which is the social.
Yes, this is the full brief.
You're on.
Social. Okay. Okay.
Which one are we on?
So,
290629.
Oh, okay.
so again, for the record, Betsy Garfield with Hankey Development Group. I have members of OEG as well as specialists with this. Yeah, this is probably something that many of you have seen, gutter systems for overflow with a pool. If you're a swimmer, you love them. You don't get a lot of back waves and things like that. So I'll let this gentleman, Cyril, explain significant more detail about this. Thank you very much. Mhm.
Yeah, I was requested to come in here and just explain what's going on. So I've got some handouts.
Your name and
Cecil Whitaker,
you are with?
Whitaker Engineering.
Packet's been provided online as well.
Yes, they have been, and
Thank you.
we have an extra one for record as well.
And engineering of what kind?
Aquatics of all kinds,
Okay.
all kinds of stuff. So I think the first thing to do is kind of get an idea of what the pools look like. So if you go to the back, you're going to see some photographs, and I'd like to kind of start in the back and work our way forward. This pool, if you want to know the doors and stuff like that, you can see the doors on the back photograph. This is the social pool. It has the shallow area for sunbathing. It has a deeper area. You can see the steps going down into the pool. This is a good reference. Just an idea. We'll be talking about this immediately. Excuse me. I got the wrong one. All right, the very last one, this one, is the pool that has the diving well and the activity.
the very back. The one we're going to be talking about now is this one right here.
I see the doors or the permanent
Uh-huh.
windows.
Yeah, so you can see that. I mean, it's a really good visual of where it sits relative to the last discussion. And the photograph beyond that is something that I'm going to be talking about here in a moment. So this one is the turnover rate. And it talks about having a 2-hour turnover rate. And so this pool here is basically kind of like two pools. There's a sunbathing area, very shallow. And then you have this deeper pool here. Typical of pools these days to have these shelves. But what that does is it doesn't require different areas in terms of turnover. The deeper pools have a longer acceptable turnover rate. These shelf areas have less of a turnover rate. They have to be turned over a lot quicker. And so I sent an email just earlier today that I want to show here. And if you want to go to this page towards the front, is where the calculations and the requirements for each type of pool that we're going to be discussing today are. So I provided all this information to the state, I provided it to Boone County, so that when we're talking about this, none of this is new material to them. They have this information. Back here.
Not just me. Step in for a second, because the variance that we're hearing, 240629, has nothing to do with what you're talking about. It has to do with the diving well, the drains.
Yeah, the turnover rate's different.
Oh, I'm sorry. So, okay, then
Real quick. I'm Steve Ury with State Health Department, kind of working with them on this. I think what's happened, there's kind of a logical order to the variances, and that there are two steps that are really assemble and work through a series. They're kind of reversed the way that they're in the agenda for this meeting. So he's jumping into the first variance. There's kind of a logical flow of order, but they've been reversed. So the variance that starts with the 35A, this is kind of down the road from this one, would actually be what he's talking about.
I'm sorry.
I'm not sure if it might actually make sense if you had the ability to switch those two, or Cecil, you need to be aware of which one.
Oh, yeah, excuse me. I'm sorry. Yeah, we're talking about, I'm sorry. What do you want me to do?
Move on to 35.
Yeah.
This one you're talking.
So you stay where you're at.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you being gracious.
I think it's about half a dozen times.
Okay. Put back up the one that was up there, that's talking about the shallow shelf. Yes, that one. Okay, this is the one where we're dealing with the turnovers and that variance. So as you can see here, here are the shelf areas. Here's the deeper area with the steps. And around here, you see these inlets. And they're spaced all around, and based on the recycle rate, every one of those inlets provides a certain quantity of water. In this case, would be required to move all the water off this shelf, we calculated on this summary sheet by code and by actually what's happening. So if you go to this sheet here, you'll see I've separated the sun deck from all other areas. It's at the very top. I have the surface area and the volume. And as you go across, based upon the surface area, we have to have so many skimmers, which we have met. Then it goes to the turnover rate, which is 1 hour. And to get 1 hour turnover in this area through these inlets, we have to provide a minimum of 59 gallons per minute on each deck, or 5 gallons per inlet. So we have a certain volume. All of these things are pointing out away into the center area. And everything is drained out of the center area. So all the water movement is off the shelf and down towards the center. So the way this has been approached is we have two different areas that have two different turnover rates, but what we do is we put the inlets in the area where we need the highest turnover to move it out. And to get that cleared, we'd have to provide 59 gallons per minute per shelf. And we're currently providing through those inlets about 84. So we're about 20% over what it would take to move that water off the shelf and down in the pool. So in here, in this area, we have less than a 1 hour turnover. For the whole pool itself, we would have to have, in terms of actual flow, 163 gallons a minute. Right now, we're over 200 gallons a minute. So yes.
I'm just gonna help you.
Yes.
So we're actually on the set labeled, that first set I was talking about, the exterior activity pool. We're on the third one. He's talking about the third variance, and it's variance to 17B3 in the pool rule.
Yeah.
Okay, making sure. So-
Yes, I'm sorry. My order in here and my logic in here is, I'm sorry about it. Thank you for being understanding. But so what I'm talking about on this one is getting proper turnover in the proper areas in this social period.
And you're getting it.
You're not getting it. Yes, I'm exceeding it.
Why is there a variance request?
For C.
Okay, so, and who are,
Sorry, again, Steve Erie with State Health.
The sun shelf, the sun shelf is what you're-
Yeah, so he's doing zoning of the turnover rates. It would normally be a 2 hour turnover rate with the pool with the waiting area. So that would be code, or if you had a waiting pool, 1 hour. So this whole pool should be a 2 hour turnover rate for the entire thing. He's zoning it to have a 6 hour turnover in the main pool and a 1 hour turnover in the sun shelf.
That's not what he's, yeah.
And that's what the.
Yeah, so.
Now and that's why the variance, and this has been done. There's a pool in Indianapolis, Bethel Park, that's connected very similarly. It has a shallow area, a walk-in area. And what they have done is this very thing. They have an area where they put more water in a certain area in the pool where they need to turn over, but there's only one main drain, one pool system. So this is how we're not breaking new ground here. This is how they have done this. Yes.
That's where my question would go.
Okay.
If the code requires a big pool to be a 2 hour turnover and they're at 6 hour, right?
Yes.
I understand what he's trying to do with the shelves. Is that something? I mean, is that something that you would approve, that you agree with, to have the bigger pool area every 6 hour turnover instead of 2 hours?
I know this has been a lot. So we've kind of learned to live with this, and we've just tried to get them to zone the shelf
Yeah,
as
but
1 hour.
learn to live with it is different from whether we should grant a variance or not, right?
yeah.
I mean,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
it's just when they design, because they need a state permit for this. And I hate to ask a question, I was asking,
No, you're fine.
how does that get approved? Because I've been through this before and we get rejected all the time over, hey, that's not good enough, right? How did this get approved as a 6 hour? Is that what you guys approved as a 6 hour?
So I'm Abby with the Boone County Health Department, and I just want to say, so the Department of Homeland Security gave whatever the plans that they provided originally, they gave the design release, Department of Homeland Security did, and then we also gave our sign release based off the plans that they originally submitted. The plans that we actually don't have the fully updated plans at the health department, the Boone County Health Department. We still don't have the most recent updated plans of what was actually built because they haven't given us the plans that they actually built. We've been going back and forth, but
CHS or?
Yeah, so.
oh, no, the building.
These folks. So my next question was, who changed this? I mean, you get a permit based on a certain
Yes.
design and somebody changed it in construction to something different that you still don't have updated drawings on, and we're here to grant variances
on something you guys have done as a senior.
And you really can, and I'm screwing, right?
We don't have the current, we still don't have the current updated plans of what was put in the ground is what you built, correct?
I don't know what but.
Okay, whoever built this, we still don't have the updated plan.
Speaks.
And I can understand that because this whole thing is, I'm confused as heck already. You are jumping all over the place. And so, one, I can understand them not having plans, and I would be very upset for me not to receive plans and the correct plans that what you built and you've already installed and you built, and it doesn't meet the plans that you had. Correct? So, and I'm sorry, but I like to hear their point of view, I guess. And then I really don't want you to have to start all over, but you are jumping around and I'm not following you. Because
Then I need to.
not going through this chronologically as we have it on our paperwork. So it's a little hard for us to understand when you're just kind of saying what you want to say and you're not following what we have in front of us.
Yeah, we'll start. That's fine.
And can I add one more thing, Chairman?
Yes.
And the fact that you're trying to convince us of something that the county has not even seen
I
yet
haven't even seen it.
is a problem. Right? And I appreciate the technical information. I get it. I'm kind of following it. Just because I've been through some of this before, right? But I can understand how confusing it is, but I'm actually, from my perspective, I'm like, we're hearing detail on something that the county hasn't even seen the drawings or approved yet. And I have a much bigger problem right there.
I have for you. 675 IC20 Indiana swimming pool bill. What is the turnover rate required for this pool per that? 2 hours. 2 hours.
2 hours.
2 hours.
So on the application, I'm saying this allows the remaining portions of the pool to maintain the standard 6-hour turnover rate. Where is that standard coming from if the code requires 2 hours?
It's through when we do zoning, and I guess I should, you guys, I'm sure know this, but just to kind of state the position, I come in as an advisory to county health departments when there's a problem, try to help them sort out what the best things would be. We don't actually review the plans. It's Sean Callahan's group that reviews the plans. This particular problem comes up often, that we have a sun shelf built with a sometimes 6-hour turnover rate stated, sometimes it's just not stated. You get the pool, the county's doing the inspection, figures out it's a 6-hour turnover rate, yet they have sun shelves. There's an argument made that sun shelves are in a waiting area. Clearly, they are less than 24 inches in the definition of a waiting area. So this is something that we seem to fix multiple times a year by saying, you need to go get a variance. But to be fair, working with Sean Callahan's group, zoning is not permitted in the construction code, but many pools are starting to do it. So given the current 2011 code, they'll go for variances and try to say, okay, if we're going to do zoning, we need variances to allow what's appropriate for each given area. And make sure that there aren't reductions upon reductions. And
So let me see if I can help. Okay.
no, you're fine.
I think I can help.
No, if the pool without the sun shelf would require a 2-hour turnover.
6 hours.
It
It would start 6.
would require 6.
That's where I was gonna go. So he's answering correctly, but if you have just a pool, it's 6 hours. If you had just a waiting or a sun shelf, it's 2 hours. When you combine, when you don't have separate pools, we have looked at this before where, okay, you can't turn over, say you're just turning over one section. So the whole pool, because they have the sun shelf, would have to be 2 hours. What I get from, I'm trying to follow it too, is that they're turning over, which we have allowed before, as long as they can show they have a high turnover rate for the sun shelf or waiting area where you could have more other problems. And they're wanting to go above that, which is what we've usually asked. Then we have allowed them to have somewhere, not saying, hey, you're going from 6 to automatically 2. Maybe it's somewhere in between, or it depends how large that sun shelf is. We have done variances for that. But it's because the offset is they're at least not saying, hey, we want to go 6 hours, including the sun shelf, and then you have a very bad problem. It's this whole movement that pools have went to having several different types of pools in one pool. And so the way the code has been.
Sun shelf would be 2. They're offering.
If it was by itself, right.
And then, so you're flushing it correct in the main body, which then.
If it was by itself, it would be 1. Anything less than 20,
Yes.
essentially want one. And I was gonna,
Yeah.
sorry, but
Sorry,
that's
no,
the
you're right.
thing.
Yeah, thank you.
Because there has been some come through and get a 2 hour just in the sun shelter. It's like, that seems inappropriate.
But a variance on this, that issue right there would go through
Health department.
what, through the health department?
No, the variance would still come to, through DHS.
That the previous ones, when they have done the turnover rate, they usually offer some sort of extra filtration system.
Correct.
To help in there to help make that better.
Correct. That's what Cecil will present on. He's done the math with all of that. Everything, but these zoning, we send a lot of pools to you that need zoning. We're trying to go with whatever that specific zone would be. We want to make sure it's the most appropriate match. So in the case of anything less than 24 inches of water, the reason is there's a lot of surface area to volume of water and there's a lot of sun impact. So it can take away the chlorine faster. So a waiting area would normally need a 1 hour turnover rate. So we're like, if you're going to reduce your overall expectation of filtration and piping and pumping and all this, to try to reduce the overall, mechanical need of that pool, it's appropriate to allow it as long as you can guarantee that you're going to have at least a 1 hour turnover rate in those sun shelves. If you're not going to do that, you're just going to mix it all up. Then the operational rule and the construction code both call for a 2 hour turnover rate for the overall pool. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we need. Yeah. There's been a lot of, this has been something we've obviously come and learned, and thank you so much, Mr. Heck, for your clarification as well, just with the zoning, and that's why we've brought in additional experts to share how, just as everyone here has mentioned, how this is where pool construction has gone to. People are designing things with different levels. You're seeing updates all over in different states as well to adjust to this, and this is, I'm grateful to have them here to explain it, because not significantly novel things, but we've taken the time to go through this with them, so.
And so to just deal with this one, I'll get back on whatever track I'm supposed to be. I apologize.
We are on 240635, and I'd like to speak about, because the way that we have it chronologically here, it would be the surface skimming system. Is that correct? Is that what you guys have?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
A, B, and C, right?
Hoping that less than 4 inches.
C and D, excuse me.
Pardon?
So,
Yeah, A, B, C.
please, Brian. And then.
The one that we have right now would be the surface skimming system openings will have the coping not less than 4 inches. Okay.
Less than 4 inches.
Your request to go to a depth of 1.63 inches.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that's the gutter system itself.
Okay.
It has to deal with the surge capacity on this pool. We did not put surge tanks on this particular pool because of the gutter system. It has adjustable weirs that flow up and down. We're using the capacity of the pool and the gutter system as surge tanks.
This is permitted by code where it says you can have balance tanks if you have a perimeter gutter system. And the way you do that, you have to have 1 gallon of storage for every square foot. And so 1 gallon of storage equates to about 1 5/8 inches. So the water level in a pool is kept 1 5/8 inch below the lip of the gutter. To allow skimmers are placed around the pool to allow the thing to be continuously skimmed. When the bather load comes in, then the water level goes up. I don't think this is actually a variance. I think this is allowed in the code, but we want to come in and explain that a perimeter system can allow, with skimmers, can allow surge capacity in the pool itself. And so that is what this system does. So there is not a need for a separate balance tank to handle the water displaced by the bathers, the swimmers. It is actually held within the pool.
How did this come up? Did somebody,
I'll explain. Yeah, I brought this up and
Yeah, so you're counting on the bather load to rise the water.
Yeah, that makes sense, but
No, the skimmers function
all the time.
all the 100% of the time. It's just if the bather load, yeah, if the bather load is great enough, the surge capacity allows for the overflow into the gutters. The weirs, the adjustable weirs shut off.
yeah, so, but it came up for a reason. Yeah,
So it's, the code seems to be, and it, for whatever reason, it conflicts a little bit in my, the way there's a part that allows section 21.8 in the pool rule. It talks about surge weirs. It says surge weirs shall pass at least 50%. There's a whole long paragraph about using surge weirs. This is the first time I've seen surge weirs in a new pool, and I've been doing this about 11 years. But when you go up a bit to section 6, it says all facilities that have perimeter overflow systems, which this does, it's required to have a perimeter overflow system because it's greater than 30 feet wide, shall be provided with a net surge capacity of at least 1 gallon per square feet surface water. And then it says surge capacity shall be provided in either a vacuum filter, the perimeter overflow system, or a surge tank or combination thereof. So I'm like, that's a bit unclear. And I've seen surge weirs go in with a balance tank as well. But the whole argument for surge weirs is that you store the water in that 1.6 whatever inches. So it's the first time I've seen it applied. Section 8 allows for surge weirs, specs out the surge weirs, talks a lot about surge weirs, but section 6 clearly says, stored in the trough or basically the balance tank in this case. There is no balance tank. So to clean this up, I see the argument for it. I see what they're doing. They can store it in the pool, but it just, there's that section 6. I'm like, we need this cleaned up with a variance to where they.
how did you feel about it?
In this case, the pool was already built and was existing before I saw it. It is allowed in section 8. It's a case where it makes sense to go ahead and allow it, if that makes sense. Surge weirs themselves, if we rewrite the rule, maybe I've got some feelings about those. It's like you're forced to build an entire perimeter gutter system. You have to do all the work for that. And you operate as basically a gutter pool, a significant fraction of the time. When the bather load goes up, you overflow and become a perimeter overflow system. So there are arguments for it. It's allowed in the rule in section 8. Section 8's fairly extensive and lengthy and talks about it. So I see that they are allowed. And then in this case, it really doesn't make sense to make them put in a surge tank when they're already storing the water out in the pool.
And the county, one more quick, and the county health department seemed like you're okay with it because they're using the pool.
Yes, they have a temporary permit right now based off of what decisions are made today.
But you're okay.
You just hadn't seen the final plans. or what?
Yeah, we don't have the final plan. That's what it comes.
I was gonna ask that again, but
Yeah.
you're okay with it.
For now, yeah, yes, if you guys are, if it gets approved.
I'd like to hear from Todd.
That, I would agree with it on it. I think it's one of those, it's more of a technicality, the way it's written, it would require the surge tank, but I would be in agreement with it as well. Do we want to just handle it as approving it right now?
Yeah.
'Cause it's an easy one. Make a motion to approve.
Which one?
This is variance 240635A.
Okay. Hey, that's it.
There's been a motion to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Item passes.
The next one that is on your guys' list. So we can follow.
Yeah. The next one would be the diving well. When I have main drains, I'm sorry, let me.
What?
Wall inlet.
Inlets are required to be 12. Yes. They're using a different type of a drain, a VGBA drain.
Okay. This is one, well, I have, this is one where the drains are acting as the floor inlets. Is that the?
It's the wall inlets are required and you're using the VGBA drains.
Yeah, okay.
What's this thing? Second. So,
And there are actually 3 variances on this issue. This one mechanical issue, and that is kind of my fault. I said that actually violates 3 different rules. So to clean this up, the fact that they've made the main drains turn into giant floor inlets, like a pair of floor inlets. It actually violates 2 portions of the outlet rule, basically about having 2 main drains and having them the deepest part of the pool. And then inlets are normally within a foot of the water level, and that's in case someone's entrapped, they're entrapped near the surface. So we just never would put basically inlets down at the bottom of the pool so that no one can stick their fingers in them and get stuck. So really, there are going to be 3 variances they're going to discuss that have to do with the fact that they're operating a waterfall and they're running water up from the bottom. There was a feature pump that was going to bring water in from the activity pool and run this waterfall. But there was a bit of a short circuiting happening as inlets are drawing water out and are bringing water in and outlets are drawing water out. So now everything just brings water into the bottom of this diving well. And then it flows out of skimmers and this big waterfall. So I look at it that it's being vertically mixed, which is really what we're after as far as public health and spreading, disinfectant and filtering the water. I would actually rather it work this way instead of having 2 things at the bottom where one's bringing water in and one's bringing it out, kind of short circuiting that vertical mixing.
But they are VGBA compliant.
Yes. Yes. The main thing is that.
We can start everything short circuiting in the pool line.
Sorry. I know I talk in water circuits, so I'm sorry. I'm thinking water circuits. When I'm talking.
I'm getting nervous. We're talking about B and you're.
Yeah, you're talking about B.
I'm actually a tiny bit confused, but I know there are 3 variances that deal with this one issue, so.
Yeah, it's on different pools.
Right there behind the other. It's right here. C.
Which one?
Do we need to point it?
We're on B.
It's B right now.
Yeah, right here. Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
But that's relevant. It's in the other one.
Yes.
And basically, large VGBA compliant main drain covers are installed at the bottom of the pool. And instead of, pushing, instead of drawing water through them, it's pushing out. So my position would be they're probably actually a little tiny bit safer, even though they're pushing water out.
You're okay with this?
Yes.
Yes, and the county's okay with it too.
Yes.
And I would make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Moving right along.
B.
All numbers of B.
Aye.
Okay.
So
B has been approved.
Now we're on C.
Now we're back to the turnover rate.
now you're to your turnover.
Right.
So this is
We already
actually
discussed that.
D.
Okay, thank
No.
Thank you. I feel better already.
So we're on the same page.
Yes. I'm sorry, there's.
So there was 4, but the first one was voided because I think it was just, it was the exact same information. So that was voided. I think that's what confusion got, the letter there. So.
So I think we've had the explanation about the turnover rate you're gonna do in
I think we
the.
have this explanation.
So what I haven't heard is, so we've got the turnover rate and usually we see filtration or something else that they're doing to help keep it cleaner. So what are they doing in addition? to that?
That's where we added, working with the gutter company, we added additional inlets into the gutter itself to accommodate the additional flow to reach that turnover rate, basically.
Plus, in terms of the volume on my sheet up in the front, in both cases, we're sending more water through, so we're cycling more often than required. So we've done that as well. So if you go to my table, you'll notice in the summary that the flow rates that would be required volumetrically are being exceeded. So we're getting a higher turnover rate. So we're not operating at the minimum, we're operating above that.
And we also had a discussion with those adjustable weirs. We added additional adjustable weirs around the gutter system
So
itself.
you're pulling, you're able to pull from more.
Right.
Okay.
Yes,
So you are
exactly right.
helping.
Or water and send it through.
It's not very approval.
Yeah, I'd make a motion to approve then.
Second.
And there's been motion and a second to approve E.
D.
So all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay.
My sheet looks like.
So 24.
Go back to 29.
Yeah, so 20. Number here. Just on, so that has been approved and we are moving back up to.
Yeah.
2406.
29.
It's 29.
I think we're on 29. Yeah. This would be A, for wall inlets.
So that goes back to us having the large VGBA compliant drains in the bottom of the pool and not wall inlets around the top of the pool within 12 inches of the surface. Is what this one deals with.
And this is the same pool that's still the social.
Correct.
No,
Right.
the other one was the active.
Okay.
This one's the social.
All right, it's basically doing the same thing that we just approved.
Yes.
I think the confusion is, this is the social pool, but the application is referencing the diving well, which is separate from.
I think these have been mislabeled, actually flipped.
They both reference it.
Right.
Yeah.
I think 35 might have been supposed to be the social pool, and this one be the active pool, similar to
Activity
the door and everything else going there. So
They completely had to rewrite their variances. They turned in 5 variances, completely rewrote them, working with us to make something that seemed more sensible and wouldn't.
Which obviously is our fault.
So glad it was clear.
I think that's what happened, because I've been confused too, and it's like, the naming of it is just backwards. I think that's just a random.
so I'd make a motion to approve A.
Can you go A and B?
B.
I have questions on B.
Okay. No, you're.
So there's been a first to approve. Is there a second?
I'll jump in.
There's a first and second to approve A.
A, wall inlet.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? A has been approved.
On B, on this, it says main drains are required for circulation system. Request is to use floor inlets as a substitute. You still got to have a main drain, but so you're able to drain the pool through the inlets? That's what I'm not seeing in here.
It's exactly.
We set it up off the pump. On the return side, we've modified the valving on it to where we can close down the return side and actually make those a drain. If for some reason we need to drain that diving well, it's just a matter of flipping 2 valves. One opens up to create suction to the pump and the return side closes down.
Okay.
So we reverse the flow.
Right.
So through changing 2 valves, we can fully drain to the bottom.
Okay.
Makes sense.
The diving well.
Yeah.
So you're not using a shop vac. That has been
No.
an answer. That's been an answer before. That's how they could do it. We've had that before. So, okay.
No, so it's set to mechanically drain it.
Correct.
Abby again with the Boone County Health Department. I just want to say that is great, and that was what the decision after the variants were submitted, or the variances I think were submitted, and everything after the plans and everything were submitted. So we're good with that. But that was something that wasn't originally put in anything, so that was another reason. And I was wondering if there's a possibility to make a condition where
That's why I wanted
they have to they have to give us turn-in plans as built, and everything prior to, I don't know what, if you want to approve stuff, that's fine, but I just want to be able to have plans as proof as built.
And we're agreeable to give them.
Well, that's fine, and we've been in communication. Right, and also to get maybe resubmit, I don't know how the process is, but maybe resubmit with all of the variances as well to get the design release from plan review. So we have a design release for what's actually built. Because we still don't have what's actually built, and I would feel more comfortable if we had the design release approval from the Department of Homeland Security, because we do that for every pool. And so with all these variances, if they all get approved, which that's the goal. So if so, then to resubmit it all. And I think Mark had something too.
Yeah, just say the addendum, we put on there, no variances apply, so that it's clear as day on there that this applies.
Sure.
So,
yes.
Yeah, I just I didn't know if that was a possibility to do that.
Is there, one last quick, is there a timeline here? Drawings should be done, right?
I think this is their highest priority.
Yeah, we can have everything resubmitted by August 1st.
Is that, do you?
That's great, as long as we get it, I mean.
Because I prefer to put it that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
August 1st be agreeable if it's agreeable to all of you.
Yeah, you just made a motion to approve B. You did, right?
I haven't made one, no. I would make a motion to approve B, that, can we put a motion, they submit drawings?
Yes.
I guess we can put that in there, and that they provide a means to drain the pool through the inlets, because that's what they're saying. I don't have anything to show that.
Well, we're talking about all the points.
All right. Everything, all the variances.
Yeah.
Should have that.
Right, but I'm saying for the condition on the drains though, then themselves. I want them, that's not what you normally do, is you don't drain it through the inlets. So I'm just making a condition that they have a means to drain the pool through the inlets. They're saying it's a substitute. So, but I'm fine with condition to submit.
The timeline,
April 1st or August 1st.
August 1st, yeah.
We're behind them.
Yeah, you should have had them in April.
I've got must submit your drawings as built for all pool areas by August 1st, means to drain pool via inlets.
Yes.
The state and the county health department. Both.
You second or me?
I think that was a second.
I think he's saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have everything, guys? Yep.
so there's been a first and a second to approve. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? So that's 29 knocked out, right? 240629 has been approved, both A and B. Okay. With conditions. Now we are moving on to 240632A. The clubhouse at Holiday Farm Sign Zone.
Melissa Tupper, RTM Consultants. We've got this one and the next group of variances go together, but once I got to 12, it started deleting them. So I had to break them into two separate applications. Had I known that, I probably would have arranged them different. So please bear with me. So for variance A, it has to do with maneuvering clearances at the entrance to bathrooms and a shower room. So we've got at the outdoor men's and women's restrooms off of the pool side. On the drawing, it's on sheet A105. On the pool side to the door, we have less than the 54 inches that is required. There's actually 46.5 inches. On the ladies' room and the men's room, they have a half wall that provide privacy, and it reduces that clear width. On the second floor in the men's restroom, on the outside coming into the restroom, and that is on sheet A106. There's an inset, the door is inset into the wall. And so we have 16 inches on the pool side when we would need 18. And then on that same plan, in the shower room in the upper left-hand corner, there's a door that goes into the men's showers that has been provided with a closer. The door does not have the 18 inches on the pull side or 12 inches on the push side. I think they were going to remove the closer on that, so only the 18 inches was the issue. And our solution to all of those is to provide a push button to open the door so that they don't have to physically open the door, and they negates having the maneuvering clearances. This is a private club, so none of the accessibility violations we will be discussing today are a violation of the ADA. From my understanding, the issues were cited at the final inspections or near final inspections. So the hardship is trying to provide the proper clearances with the structural impediments that are there.
This is the same building.
Thank you, Melissa. This is Betsy. And Melissa, and just to confirm, a number of those stalls were also built that they're wider than required.
This isn't this isn't the stall variance. This is the doors going in or out of the bathroom, the main door going in.
Okay,
yeah,
great.
Not the stalls.
Thank you.
Josh Frost with the town of Zionsville. Just as a correction, the violations were noted pre-drywall during roughing inspections. So these have been noted for a considerable amount of time.
Oh.
So that's where it could have been corrected.
Yeah.
Yes. Make a motion to deny.
Second.
First and second to deny, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion has been denied.
Is that a policy to use an alternative for the restrooms?
It can be discussed. Other alternatives can be discussed, but.
Okay, yeah. We're more than willing to do that.
So you're willing to make it compliant per the Zionsville. Correct.
Yeah.
It would have to be submitted for.
Yes.
And regrettably, that is not handled by general contractors when they're doing that and finishing it. And, you know, so we've looked into the buttons, we've looked into that.
Final inspections.
Right.
So
It may not have been relayed to you all.
Pardon?
It may not have been forwarded to you.
Well, I think when you hire, someone of that caliber, you expect
Yes.
they're handling it, right? They do it all the time. So, so we are working through this. We were also very upset to learn that, that it hurts we've had a great relationship with our municipalities. We work with them all the time across every organization. And so we are more than happy to do that. You what?
Have you guys on speed.
I mean, we have good relationships, we're a family company. We work with the local people all the time. So yes, we were very disappointed. We're happy to put in buttons or whatever we need to do to make sure that those are compliant. We know that we have other things within the building. There's quite a few restrooms in this large building. So, so we're grateful that not all of them are, not eligible to be used, but we will definitely address that. So.
And to add to that, this is a company who also built our first clubhouse in Westfield. So this isn't the first clubhouse we've built with this company. It's our second. So they built Bridgewater Club in Carmel as well. So we were expecting the same results.
Moving on, 240632B.
This variance is to not provide vertical grab bars in the accessible restroom stalls. This is not required by the ADA. They do not require the vertical grab bars. There is a photo in there that shows the inset toilet paper dispensers that were installed. Therefore, you cannot get a vertical grab bar within the proper reach range due to that.
But your justification is that the ADA doesn't require vertical grab bars, but you've already told us that this facility doesn't have to meet ADA. So I'll make a motion to deny. The Indiana Building Code's accessibility provisions do require it.
Could we offer to provide them, just not within the reach ranges?
Then why have grab bars?
I'll second.
So first and second to deny, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion has been denied. Moving on, 240632C.
This variance addresses the single user men's restroom, 129. That is off of the gentleman's golf lounge. The lavatory has been placed 36 inches above the floor and has not been provided with the front approach due to the cabinetry being installed under the lavatory. There is an accessible restroom right across the hall from this. This isn't necessary. It was just provided.
But you're talking the locker room.
It's across the hall, the other accessible bathroom.
From the locker room.
So there's the gentleman's golf lounge, where there's the restaurant golf lounge, and then there's just a single user restroom. That is the one that's been provided with the cabinet. That doesn't meet the front approach or the height. And right across from that is the accessible bathroom, both men's and women's.
Tell me more. That's the lounge that she's talking about, and the other restrooms we're talking about are right across the hall.
Yeah, this is our main restrooms right here.
Okay.
Here's our main hallway, main entrance, pro shop, everything is over in this area. This is simply just like a single stall that is incorporated, but majority of folks, this has access directly out into here. So most people come in through here, grab something to eat, go to the restroom, and then go play. So.
But we don't want to be in this situation again, where we're making that decision. You can put an accessible sink in there. Right? You can do things to fix this.
What's the overall project cost?
22 million.
So this is a $10,000 modification of 22 million.
Yeah. Everything.
No,
Well, in the window.
Probably not that.
I mean, but if we were to go with their numbers of 10,000.
Yeah,
Well below the threshold that we typically consider for financial hardship.
Estimated the cost of a lot of these variances to probably be in around 230,000.
The architect and the contractor have issues here that maybe you should have them pay for it, but I would make a motion to deny.
Second. The first and second to deny. Steve? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Is your contractor here?
24,632.
Is your contractor here?
Yes, he's online.
Dick's
The-
online.
But the contractor is not.
Oh, the contractor.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So 24,632A, B, and C have all been denied. Moving forward to 24,0640. We have a number of these. Let's do A.
Yes.
Melissa Tupper, RTM Consultants. Kent and Betsy, do we want to table this group and revisit them? Seeing as how the last three have gone.
That's a really good suggestion.
We're good. That is really up to you folks.
Yeah.
We'll be here next month either way.
Yes. So it's up to you.
Yes, and if you want to review each one, we will. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
Yes,
I mean,
you said yes.
Yeah, I mean, like we've said, we don't want to be in this spot. We have tried to exhaust a lot of these, and we'll see what we can figure out and work through. We want to keep operating. We have a duty to a lot of people to do that, and a lot of staff. And so we absolutely will. We don't take it as a laughing matter. We will definitely do that. I appreciate the opportunity to send that and come back next month. So.
By the way, we totally understand that. And see
Yeah, appreciate it.
that.
Yeah.
We We absolutely do.
Yeah.
And really the bigger issue is us to approve certain things like this would really set a precedent in the entire state. And so we have our own obligation there, but I guarantee every one of us sympathize with you, on this topic.
Yeah, I mean, and if this is an issue where it wasn't designed properly, there's errors in emissions insurance available for design professionals. If this was mistakes made on the contractor side, I know they have options as well.
Well, they're insured.
It's a long road through all.
Yes.
It sounds great, but.
Yeah, no, it's a long road.
It is a long road through all of that, so.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're just,
You did get a few of them.
I thank you. I appreciate that as well. So, yeah, so hopefully we'll get this all worked out and then,
When you go back and you look at this, really look at options, right? Yeah.
we have.
Just go back with
Yeah.
the architect and contractor and say, listen, in lieu of us having a bigger financial legal issue with you guys, what's a better way? What is something we can propose in lieu of just asking for the commission to just approve the variance and set a bad precedent? Because that's where we would go into
Yeah.
rejection.
We have down that road considerably, which is why we're here. So, but we will continue to make that effort. So.
Because maybe after that kind of pressure, maybe they could come in and just fix it. Yeah.
I'll make a motion to table variance 240640 A through L.
Second.
So first and second to table 240640, A through L. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Has been tabled.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I mean, you've got a lot of support with you here.
Oh,
I mean, you.
I know. Thank you all. I
Got
genuinely
a lot.
appreciate it. Yes. Yes. No, trust me. I hope they get home and go find their families really quick and go enjoy their sport that you could. Thanks for dragging them here. Thank you very much, you all, and all of yours. Have a happy Fourth.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for your time. We appreciate it. Guys, really appreciate it. All of you. Yeah, that's important. Take care.
All right, moving forward. Amy?
Yeah, no new industrialized building system applications and renewals this time. We do have one non-final order from OALP. IDHS filed an objection to that one, which is including meeting materials. Let us know if you have any questions.
You want me to take on that?
If you want to, go for it.
So I'll just give a little background on this, try to make it simple. It's the
Hard to hear through the TV.
I don't have my notes, but, there's, I don't know, it should be online, the objection that was filed, look
Can you
for
take
county.
this?
What?
I've got it up somewhere.
Yeah. So what this boiled down to was there was a case filed. They challenged a written interpretation by the State Building Commission.
County.
Did, yes.
Challenge.
Yeah, and so I went to the hearing and this was served on the petitioner here, which would be the Poor County John Niegos, and then his attorney, the county attorney. So they've had notice of this today. And it was also served on an interested third party. Bottom line, there was a written interpretation. It had to do with electrical issues. Got sent over to OALP. The judge acted sua sponte on it at OALP and basically dismissed the matter, saying that OALP lacked jurisdiction on it, which as a matter of law is incorrect. They said that there was no agency action. There was an agency action because IDHS engaged in activity to determine the legal rights of the parties involved. So that was an erroneous decision by the ALJ. The ALJ also said that the written interpretation was non-binding in nature. It is binding in nature and it can be binding on the entire state if they're published. So for those two reasons, I'm requesting that the commission dissolve the order and remand it back to OALP for further proceedings. Now, importantly,
DHS, if you will, won for the wrong reason. So a dismissal is good for us in the sense that the challenge is no longer existing. But at the end of the day, we didn't want OALP or the community, the legal community around in the construction area to understand that these are binding. So we wanted to resolve, reversed, remanded, and send back to OALP so that they can adjudicate the matter.
You're gonna take care of what?
Correct. If you guys resolve it, send it back.
You got a small backup.
I'll make a motion to dissolve the order and remand it back to OALP for further proceeding.
I will second that.
Is that the correct terminology?
Correct, yeah.
First and second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye. Thank you.
You go 5, buddy. I expect results.
Okay, with that one being dissolved and remanded, I think that most of the rest of this is just informational. Next meeting is Tuesday, August 6th in this room. Yep. We're in this room for the rest of the year. Just put that in there because.
Okay.
Right. All right. I got a little loud.
I didn't jinx it.
So I got a little loud. But, thanks, everybody.
No.
Hey, fine. Everybody have a happy 4th of July.
Yeah.
Be safe.
It's a pool.
Hang on 1 second. I'm sorry, I still can't hear you.
Do we need a motion?
No,
Oh, really?
no.
Cool.
The chairman can call.
Chairman can call the meeting to order and end it at his pleasure.
Yeah, I don't know why a lot of the other boards and commissions do a motion to adjourn. It's not necessary. It's the chairman's.
Well done.
Everybody have a good and safe work.
Oh, yeah.
Since you did at the beginning.
All right.
No complaints there.
Yeah.
We need power.
Board meeting.
Thanks, Cheryl.
I mean, the one where, yeah, mentioning. It's not too. It's because they have that tandem shell.